I guess we're back again, speaking about none other than Sixers fan favourite Ace Bailey. I'm only joking, but you know what? After making my last video, which I highly suggest you watch, I got into deep thought. And the general consensus of how the fan base thinks based on how they're going to draft prospects made me think that, wow, a lot of us really can't be GMs. Because if you take into factor the things that we're taking into factor, a lot of us would have been fired a long time ago. Now, where am I going with this? Let me throw a name out there. Charles Barkley. Now, before you say anything, I'm not comparing Ace Bailey and Charles Barkley. But do you know what I am comparing in the slightest? Charles Barkley didn't want to be in Philly. Oh, do you know what he did? He gained 20 pounds of weight in 2 days before the draft. And he also explicitly said he doesn't want to be in Philly. Well, guess what? He was still drafted by the organization and is now arguably a top 5 Sixer of all time. Now, if you didn't draft Charles Barkley because he said he didn't want to be here, and you instead pass on him and select the guy drafted after him, Melvin Turpin. Call me a casual, but I don't know who he is. His NBA career lasted 5 years and he was selected 1 pick after Charles Barkley. If you selected him because Barkley said he didn't want to be here, the trajectory of this franchise would have been completely different. And what would you have said? Oh, the Sixers messed up their pick. They should have picked Chuck. And they should have, and they did. The point I'm trying to make is that no one remembers the whole fiasco before the draft because he had his time in Philly, was dominant. Yeah, didn't lead to a championship. Oh, well, but he's still highly regarded in this city. The stuff that happened pre-draft is like a distant memory. So why are we applying or not applying that same logic here? And you know what's even funny? Ace Bailey has never come out and said he doesn't want to be in Philly. This is what I mean by you can't put too much stock in these media narratives or these media reports because a lot of them don't have much validity and they contradict each other. How are you trying to insinuate from these reports, or the reporters are trying to make it out that Ace Bailey doesn't want to be here, but then in one breath you're saying Ace Bailey's not accepted any workouts from any NBA team? So are you saying Ace Bailey doesn't want to get drafted? Because clearly he's not accepted any workouts, but it only means he doesn't want to be in Philly. But because he cancelled the Sixers workouts, he doesn't want to be here. Well, let's put 2 and 2 together. He's not accepted any workouts. And the only one he accepted was the Sixers one. Now, I'm not a big fan of this entitlement. I believe he needs to be more humble and pay his dues, but that's not the point. The only team he accepts a workout for is the Sixers. And reportedly, the only reason why he declined it is because he didn't get a promise that they'd select him. So let's use some common sense here. For him to accept a workout originally and seek a promise, that clearly means there's some mutual interest between the two camps of him going there. That means his camp potentially see Philly as a suitable fit for their client, for Ace Bailey. So how are we getting this narrative that he doesn't want to be in Philly? Then you hear reports that he wants to stay on the East Coast. He's a New York resident. New York and Philly aren't that far apart. And that's why I wanted to say that, oh, the fans are overreacting and they're reaching. But you're not. Do you know why? Because we're not doing some critical thinking, which is key. The reports aren't adding up. They're contradicting each other. And that's exactly why you have to ignore them. You have to go by the status quo of best player available. And in this case, the best player available is the best fit available. I'm not going to sit here and say Ace Bailey has generational talent, even though I think his potential is through the roof and he could be the best player in this draft. And I must add, that will take a lot to go right, but I think his potential is phenomenal. You don't pass up on that. Because if you pass up on Ace Bailey, in 2-3 years' time, these same fans, and I don't wish anything bad on VJ Edgecombe, but let's say we select someone else, and they turn out to be okay, but Ace Bailey's a superstar. These same fans will be like, Daryl Morey stinks at drafting, he should have selected Ace Bailey. And all of these antics go out the window, you forget about them. That's exactly why you select him anyway, if that's who you think is the best player for you. And there was even a report that came out today that said Daryl Morey doesn't care about anything that's going on. And if he wants Ace Bailey, he's going to draft him. And so he should. Because think about it this way. If you draft Ace Bailey, is he going to refuse to play? Of course not, because he's going to be stuck in this organization for the next 5 years with the way the rookie contracts work and the bird, all of this stuff, qualifying off. He's going to be here for a while. So it's in his best interest to actually put 110% in, or guess what? He's either going to get traded down the line, or even for the short term, he's not going to get minutes because Nick Nurse isn't that fond of playing young guys. So for him to get that role and earn that spot and have that route to superstardom, he has to earn it. And he has the abilities to do so. But that's exactly why when he comes here, he's not going to just sit back and sulk, because he's not going to get his end goal. The Sixers, even though we're a very discombobulated franchise, or they're a discombobulated franchise, sorry, there's a lot of talent. Paul George, Justin Edwards, there's a lot of guys who he's going to be competing for minutes with. And if he sees it as a wise opportunity, Paul George, even though he's slightly cooked, is the best mentor for someone like Ace Bailey. Because even though he's not as explosive as he once was, the shot creation is still there, and the experience of having that similar mode of guy in your position is invaluable. But the bottom line of what I'm trying to say here is that you need to do what's in the best interest of your franchise and what's going to put you in the best position. You can't do what's in the best interest of someone else. Oh, actually, Ace Bailey doesn't want to be here, so let's actually pass on him. No, this isn't a flipping charity. If you think he's going to benefit this organization, you select the guy and you build for your future, and you give Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey another young stud to build with. You don't pass on him for good merit. What are we talking about now? And I'm not trying to repeat what I said in my last video, but the whole VJ Edgecombe thing, it's such a reach. If it was Dylan Harper, I understand, because Dylan Harper's another tier of talent, and that's a guy you just don't want to pass on if he falls at your laps. I understand that. But VJ Edgecombe, he's tiny. You're going to have 4 tiny guards earning a large chunk of your rotation in Quentin, Jared, or assuming Quentin Grimes is back, which he probably will be, Jared, Tyrese, VJ. It's not going to work. And you have a guy that's 6'8", that fits like a glove, and in my opinion is better and has better upside. You're not going to pass on that. Let's be serious. And I'm not even a guy who's going to sit here and be like, because there was a report that VJ Edgecombe shot very poorly at his workout today. That's not even a reason for me to say don't select him, because that's normal. You're going to be nervous, especially when you're showcasing yourself to your future employers. And in this case, it's an enclosed private workout with a lot of eyes watching you. He's 20 years, well, nearly 20 years of age. That's going to happen. I'm not then going to say don't select VJ Edgecombe for that reason. No, I'm just a firm believer of Ace Bailey being that guy. And I'm sure Daryl's done his due diligence on scouting Ace Bailey and all of that kind of things there, because I think one thing we don't give Daryl credit for, even though he's been a bit of a bonehead in some of his decisions, I must say that, since he's arrived in Philly, other than Sam Presti, there's not been a general manager alongside, well, president/general manager. So I know allegedly Elton Brand does the drafting, but that's not my business. But there's not been an organization since Daryl Morey's been here that's drafted better than the Sixers, other than Sam Presti. And I say this because you've got an all-NBA level player from the 21st pick. You've got the best player in the previous draft that just went, the 2024 NBA draft. You got him at pick 18. The best player at pick 18. Now, there's some other guys such as Isaiah Joe that are no longer on the roster and Paul Reed, but these are all guys who you've picked up in very low positions in the draft relative to the first round and second round, and you've doubled and maximized their value. Justin Edwards was undrafted. He's arguably a lottery pick if you do this whole draft again. So that's why whoever Daryl decides to pick, I think there should be a level of optimism, because he's done nothing to show us that he can't select talent. The one thing he's good at is being a great evaluator of talent. The only thing he struggles at is flipping that talent for old wash superstars. But that's not the point. We're at the point of selecting a guy with the 3rd pick. And whoever Daryl picks, I'm going to be in full support of, because even since his Houston days, he's been very good at doing just that. And I have full support and full faith. I'm just saying that if you were a VJ Edgecombe guy all along, I respect that. That's completely fine. However, if you were an Ace Bailey guy, and based on the things you're hearing, you're now saying, I don't want Ace Bailey anymore, that's not a very business-savvy way to think. That's not prioritizing the Sixers now and future. That's putting your emotions first. Because it's a business, you do what's best for you. And like I said before, and many times before, a lot of these reports are so contradicting. And at no point does it say really Ace Bailey doesn't want to be here. If anything, from everything we've been told, it shows me Ace Bailey actually wants to be here the most, because we're the only team he originally accepted the workout from. But I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I'm just saying that, even including me, we all couldn't be general managers. We'd all be terrible, because we'd let external things that don't matter factor into our decision making. And that's why we don't get paid the money to do these jobs. And that's why being a fan is sometimes fun. And majority of the time stressful if you're a Sixers fan like me, because this team, can't nothing normal happen to this franchise. But let's just relax and sit back for Wednesday's draft and see what happens. But like I said, it's just my opinion. For any discussion, I want to hear you guys' opinions in the comment section down below, because trust me, I thoroughly enjoy reading you guys' opinions, seeing what you have to say, and bouncing them off my ideas too. Because at the end of the day, I'm just going to have a platform. I'm going to give you guys a platform too. Let's talk Sixers ball. But thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all of that thing there. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, my people, and I'm out. Peace.